without getting too close. Oh gosh, we got to get really close.
Yeah, we're gonna have to be like.
We're gonna be really close.
Like,
I'm gonna grab my glasses so I can see.
gonna have to be like, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I'm a little nervous because like normally I've got that warning label.
Oh yeah. This is my good friend Geyer, and he's right. Normally I give him a introduction that includes a warning. Yeah. So what are we doing tonight? You know what we're doing tonight?
I have no idea. You just asked me to come over and hang out. I think we're talking about the time that
the accident.
Yeah, we were gonna see who was better at killing you, me or you.
There, now we're both in
now
it.
We're equally as
and
in it.
And we have
we've got like
we have safety between us. It's not gonna get weird. That's about how far. No, we were probably closer than that in the truck.
Oh yeah, yeah, we were way closer than that.
So yeah, so I have 2 videos that are on this topic, and I have not made my 3rd, 4th, and 5th video. Probably it'll be for the rest of the story. I have left off at the night with when the ventilator came out that night, which I will get back to. So, but that's what this is going to be about. It's I guess I saw a video this week, and I've thought this before in the last 9 years. But this video that I saw, and I highly recommend anyone to look this up because it's a pretty crazy story. There is a little girl that, I know it's gonna be sad, it really is, and disgusting, but there is a little girl that was locked up in her bedroom all the way up until the age of 13. It was a 2-bedroom house. And 1 bedroom was just for her, almost a dungeon, if you will. And then the other bedroom was a shrine to the father's dead mother. It just sat, and everyone else slept in the living room. It's crazy.
Slept on couches and recliners and everything else.
Yeah, if it was that nice. But this little girl, I'll just give you a brief. From the ages of 2 to 13. She spent most of her life strapped down to a potty chair.
Oh,
yes,
it's horrible.
When she finally was discovered or found, she was 13 years old, and I think she weighed 49 or 59 pounds. They said you could see through her skin because she'd never seen daylight.
Assholes like that should be drug out in the street.
So I don't bring that up to set a sad tone. I end up watching more than one video on this because it was so fascinating, her life there and after. But I had forgotten that she had an older brother because the older brother doesn't get talked about. And so they had a video that had the older brother, and he was old at this point because it's been a lot of years. He's probably in his 60s. And he said he was glad that his sister got all the attention and all the medical that she needed. But what sounded like is he did not.
It was just lip service.
Yeah, because he basically, a couple Band-Aids, maybe some counseling appointments, but he got hauled off to a foster home where she had intensive 5 years non-stop with the best of the best for every medical thing you could name for 5 years straight. Plus, it didn't stop like that. I mean, they don't even know if she's still alive or if she's in a nursing home or what at this point, to protect her identity and say, but it reminded me, and I don't know if we'd ever talked about this, and we're kind of doing it tonight, is giving you an opportunity to talk, kind of like that brother who, like, I realize I've gotten all the attention You know what I'm saying on this deal?
I mean, you kind of earned that. You almost died. I just had a little bunged up shoulder and a little rash on my face. And
you had to piss in a cup, and I think you had to go back to school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was at school the next day.
Yeah, and so
you hadn't even opened your eyes yet.
But don't think I haven't thought about that, through the years. Like it just felt, yeah. So I guess that's what brings us to this night is like, let's hear your tell us. Go ahead, tell us what's what from your point of view.
And that was it. Was after that the next day. It was just I teach high school auto tech, so the next day we had lots of conversations about when you have passengers in your car, you're the one that's responsible to get them where they're going safely when you're driving, and and kind of told them about that, kind of gave them a rundown of it, and and the biggest thing I remember saying is I'm like, I hope and pray that you guys are never in that situation, because that was literally the worst day of my life. I thought I killed one of my best friends for about 15 minutes, and you decided to quit slacking around and help you out from calling 911. Because one of the things I found out in a rollover is that wherever your shit was, it's not anymore. Because we rolled the truck. We were going down a 4-lane. We hit some black ice going over a bridge. And that particular, we were going over an old train viaduct. And so it was pretty high off the ground below. And so the hill was steep. And we weren't going overly fast. Like, we weren't in a hurry. We were just going to get a water heater. We were just hanging out for the day. So cruise was literally set at 65, one of the few times in my life. Shut the cruise at 65. We were tooling along and hit that black ice, and we rolled the truck for 125 yards.
You got to times that by 3, right? It's like 450 feet or something?
For feet, yeah. So like what, 375?
Okay.
375 feet. Basically, we rolled it from goalpost to goalpost. That's 120 yards. If you're looking, football fields are familiar to you. We rolled it from goalpost to goalpost.
I wonder how much elevation change there was too, because there was a tremendous.
that ditch. It had to be 30 feet down to the cornfield.
Yeah, it was.
And we rolled through a fence, and and as soon as the truck stopped running, I just, Jason, are you okay? Like did you ever take CPR when you were a kid?
Yeah, you got to do that.
It's like, Annie, are you okay? Annie, are you okay? And I was like, Jason, are you okay? And I remember just over and over and over, and I got no reply. I'm looking for my phone. Can't find my phone. It was right here in my chest pocket.
Was.
But it was too tall to zip, so it just kind of sat in there. But when you're upside down for half the trip, things fall out. And somehow it ended up, 20 feet further out in the cornfield than the truck was?
Really?
And so I'm like, shit, what am I going to do? Like, I'm literally shitting bricks. Because
I couldn't imagine.
You are 100% unresponsive. Like, nothing. I mean, if there was a hole in your head, there was blood running out of it. Blood coming out of your mouth, your nose, your ears. Your face looked like hamburger. Because, those cool little smoker vents? Those plastic smoker vents? Those things are super cool, but in the winter when you roll it, they shatter and they turn into saw blades.
Oh. So
that's why the whole left side of your face was chewed up. Because in one of those, when we got popped up in the air, that's like the super weird, like, if you looked at my side of the truck versus your side of the truck, you wouldn't have, like, they didn't go through the same thing.
I put a couple pictures on the previous one, thumbnails of to kind of show that.
Like my side of the truck was like, oh, it didn't even break the mirror off. And your side of the truck, the corner of the cab was pushed all the way over and down to the headrest of the seat. And I can still remember, it's weird, some of the stuff that I remember just clear as day. As soon as the back end of that truck started walking around, I could see you reaching forward and grabbing.
I remember that.
So on those S10s, they got that holy shit handle on the dash.
Yep.
And you reach forward to grab that. And unfortunately, what that did is it pulled slack in the seatbelt, and then when we started rolling, it locked it in place. So you weren't even held tight into your seat anymore. And then when the cab got pushed all the way over and down, I mean,
I ran out of real estate.
Gravity and centrifugal force said you're going to get partially ejected.
Yeah, I ran out of real estate.
Oh God, it
got smaller.
It got shorter and narrower, and they're like, well, and it was like, I can't remember how the officers worded it, but it was like, it almost felt the way they said it, that they were like, no, it's your guys' fault that you were partially ejected. Like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, that cab got pushed over damn near 12 inches and down 8. Like, where the hell was he going to go? Except out. But, and then it just, once I got it, I had to crawl out the back window of the truck because it was either that or walk on you. And I wasn't quite ready for that yet. But the nice part about the cab being pushed, the truck stopped rolling on your side of the truck. But it was kind of nice that the cab got pushed, the roof got pushed all the way over, because then I could see you. Because otherwise, if it'd been, if it hadn't got pushed over, like.
Oh, from the outside?
Yeah.
Okay, I never really thought about that, but yeah, you were out there because, yeah.
So I had to crawl out, and I got out and trying to figure out, I couldn't find my phone. The highway's 120 some yards away.
Uphill.
I didn't want it uphill, over a fence, through knee deep snow. Didn't want to leave you alone because at that point I didn't have the heart to check and see if you were still alive or not. At that point I just didn't have it in me.
I don't think I could have done that. That would have wigged me out.
Oh, it had me totally wigged out.
Like to reach and check for a pulse or something?
For a pulse or something. I don't even want to know.
Oh, he looks dead.
No, I don't even, so. We got to get help. And I was looking up at the road. I'm like, that's a long freaking ways away to try and flag someone that might be going by. And then the whole part, this is the part that just felt freaking dirty. Just felt dirty. Is when I had to start searching through your pockets trying to find your phone.
Oh,
because I was hoping that you put it in zipped it in your coat.
I'm still out like there.
You're still out. I don't know.
I'm a dead guy.
I don't know if you're dead or not.
You looking for my wallet?
Yeah, and I feel like you just going and just felt like, I don't know. It just felt dirty. Like you're just like in war when they go through the dead soldiers, they go through and they pluck off all the stuff they want and then they just leave. Like that's what I felt like I was doing. And I couldn't find your phone. And at that time, you had that hot pink phone case that I gave you so much shit for. Nice case, girl. Oh, but I tell you what, if you had a black phone case like mine, you'd have died out in that field.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Because I found your phone underneath your foot down on the floor, and I had black carpet, black floor mats, black trim, all the panels were black, the soles of your boots were black. If that had been my phone down there with a black case and a black phone, I'd never found it in time. But I saw just the corner of that hot pink phone case, so then I'm like trying to move you around to get it without feeling dirty like I was robbing the dead. And oh my god. So fun fact, if you go at that time, it was like Bing. Was it Bing?
Oh,
Or
I
did
don't
you have
know.
to say like, okay, Google?
Yeah, it was like, or something like that.
It
Yeah.
was something like that, like, okay, Google, call 911. And freaking Google,
Was useless.
it was absolutely useless because it just kept saying, cannot find contact named 911. Like, no! Call 911, like, emergency. Like, trying any comment. I couldn't freaking figure it out. Because the phone button, the call button on your phone was gone. Like, on everybody's phone, it's on the main screen. And I don't know what happened to your phone, but it wasn't there.
And I'm dead or dying.
I still didn't know if you were dead or not. And I don't know if it was like, you're like subconsciously you're hearing the frustration in my voice. Like
I could feel it. I could feel it.
I'm just like, oh, I'm losing my mind because, like I said, I don't know if you're dead or alive at this point. And I'm trying to find it. I'm swiping right. And then it was just, I had to hear this, swipe left twice. Apparently something got screwed up with your phone, and now the phone button was like swiping left twice. And finally,
but now I wasn't dead. Maybe.
But now I knew you weren't dead. I'm like, hey, we got a chance here. And it's like I called 911, and I heard the gal answer the phone.
You recognized her,
and
didn't you?
she goes, 911, what's your emergency? And I recognized her voice. I said, Loretta? She goes, yeah. Like, this is Jason. And I got a problem. And she goes, oh, shit. And she's like, where are you at? I'm like, I have no fucking idea where I'm at right now. So here I am talking on the phone, running knee deep in snow, humping over fences. I mean, I knew about where we were, but I had no mile marker. I'm like, I had no idea how far we ended up rolling.
You couldn't see us down there. We were
unless you happen to be looking out in the field before you went over the overpass. Yeah. Like when you were still down low, if you happened to be looking left, you'd have seen the truck laying out there. Otherwise, you'd have never seen it from the road. So I ran up there. I'm like, the overpass, right before the Delaware exit, we hit, lost control of the vehicle. We're down in the cornfield on the south side of the road. And she goes, all right, I'm sending everybody. And holy shit, she was not kidding.
They all came.
And it's so weird. A lot of times in emergency situations, everybody says it seems like it took forever for help to get there. And that was not my experience at all.
It was pretty fast.
Like, holy shit, like, I got up there, I told her, for some reason I had to run back up to the road one more time. But from the time for me to go from the road back down to the truck and back up to the road, I think she had questions like, were you conscious? And I'm like, I have no freaking idea. He was. And so, I gave her all the information, where we were at, what your name was. I think I even gave him Patty's number and told him to call Patty.
They probably, because she,
it's like, out. Gave him all your information, and somehow I was able to give him Patty's number. I don't know, like, I don't have that phone number memorized, but
maybe you found it on my phone.
Maybe, or maybe they had it from,
yeah,
building
other
permits,
times.
or other times we'll say. But and it was like, by the time I ran back down to the truck, ran back up the hill, and back down to the truck. Well, thankfully the Delaware first responders, like, from the road, I could see their shed, the building that they, were the Delaware Fire Department. You could see it from the road, like, it was close. So they were there like that, to start doing aid and assessing situations, and then 2 ambulance, so they were there with their first responder vehicle. Manchester was there with 2 vehicles. I think there had to have been two state troopers, 3 county sheriffs. It was like
It was lit up.
oh man, if that had been at night, you'd have seen the lights flashing from a long way away. And yeah, it was like they were right there. Like it just seemed like I don't know how fast they drove, but it was fast because the neighbor down the street, that house that we gave a bid on doing steel.
Oh yeah.
And then they got the white guy bid, and they're like, "Ooh, we're gonna go get the Amish white guys," and had them do it. The next time I ran in, he was like, "Hey, the next time you get into a car accident, can you do it after I wake up? Because the ambulance went by so fast it shook their house and woke them up." So I don't know how fast the ambulance was driving on the way out, but I know they were driving faster on the way back. Because you were not in good shape at all. And the lead paramedic that was there, that guy's quick decision making is what saved your life. Because they got you all, like, I don't know how. You ever seen the pictures of the videos where they try and see how many clowns they can shove in a Volkswagen Beetle?
Okay.
Okay, this was like first responders in a crunched up S10. How many can we get in there?
Gotcha.
I think the answer is 5. Coming in from different windows and back windows and side windows and supporting heads and necks and trying to make, and they, cut the seatbelt off and they're starting to pull you out and they're like, whoa, 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 he's still attached somewhere. And so everybody just stopped and froze and kind of looked around and go, oh shit, your arm's trapped underneath the truck. Which then it all of a sudden made sense because the whole time you were laying there before they got there, you kept complaining about how cold your hand was.
Oh.
It's like, my hand is so, it's like, my hand's cold. My hand's... So, and I had gloves on, so I took my gloves off and put them on the one hand I could find. And actually, I don't even think I put it on because I didn't know the extent of your injuries. I didn't want to move you as little as possible, so I just kind of slid it underneath your hand so it wasn't in the snow. Because nobody, the way you were laying, nobody could see that your other arm was pinned underneath the truck.
I remember at one time telling you how cold my base was, and then did you put your hat or something?
Yeah, I think I took my stocking cap off and tucked it underneath your head so at least it wasn't laying in the snow too. And when they sleep, and I mean, it was a decision. It was about a 10-second discussion what they were gonna do, and that lead paramedic's like, we got to flip the truck over. We got everybody here, just flip it over. Because a lot of cases like that, I think they'd probably get a tow truck and they'd try and tip it over nice and easy. And one of the EMTs or first responders, paramedics, someone else there goes, yeah, but what if he's got a spinal injury? Like, he could be paralyzed. And that lead paramedic, he goes, maybe, but if we don't get him out of this truck now, it's not going to matter if he's paralyzed because he'll be dead. And it was something along those lines.
Yeah.
They were concerned about, causing potential head and neck injuries, and he's just worried about saving your life. And we'll worry about paralysis later. Let's see if we can save him first.
Yeah, it won't matter. It won't matter if I'm dead.
Because you're in bad shape, bad shape, and
I knew it too.
And the other thing when they, so they all got, we all got over there, and it was like just in unison, everybody just flipped the truck over. And I will never, like, I can still hear the groan that you let out when that thing flipped over and your head smashed into the, when it flopped over and your head smashed into the side of the truck.
That was probably the second most painful thing of the event. Yeah, up to that point. Might even be first.
Oh, I bet. Like, I'm serious. That groan, I can still hear that in my, like, it's like right here in my mind. And then of course, well, we rolled it for 120 yards. What do you suppose the odds of the door opening are?
Probably zero.
About zero. I don't know what, like, son of Zeus power, because that lead paramedic, he's not a big guy. I mean, he's tall, like 6'2", but if he weighs 165 pounds soaking wet with lead in his pockets, I'd be surprised.
What did he do? Rip the door open? Or what?
He grabbed the door hand. I think he grabbed both latches just in case, it was, one of them didn't work. Got the door open about maybe 6 inches. And did you ever watch the movie 300 with the Spartans and, all the
I don't think I've seen that one.
Anyway, somewhere the invading force sends a messenger, and Leonidas in the movie doesn't like what he says, and we would just call it that Spartan kick, where he just
Oh, he did that.
It's like a reverse mule kick. He just front kicked it.
He did
kicked
that to the
it
door?
twice, and he folded that freaking door right around on the fender. 2 kicks, a door that had just rolled 120 yards, and folded that sucker around on the fender. And got you out, got you on the stretcher, got you up to the, and up until that point I felt really good, because apparently adrenaline is a really good drug.
Oh, you felt
like me, like
I thought you meant about
physically.
Me. Oh,
physically, yeah. I still felt pretty good. I'm like, man, I don't know how I made it through this feeling pretty good.
Yep.
But that was, but as soon as
the calm,
they had you in the ambulance and were gone, and then I'm like, you want to go to the hospital? I'm like, yes. Like, I started up there, we ended down here. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but it's got to be something.
Did you ever get your hat back?
I don't even know. I don't know what hat I was wearing at the time. I don't even know if I got my gloves back.
I'm derailing here.
But it was, so I walked up, and then the ambulance that they had for me, because they brought 2, one for you, one for me, and the paramedic that was in that ambulance was a former student of mine.
Oh.
And so I'm like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, you've had better days. And I'm like, I've had a lot better days. Like, all of them have been better than this one. Like, this is the worst one. And as soon as I sat down in the ambulance, it was like, oh my God. It was like everything hit at once. Like, this, my right arm was, like how the bull riders, they're on the bull and that hand's like whipping around, but they're using it for like balance. Mine was not balanced.
You were trying to destroy.
It was just grabbing. Like, I probably hit you in the head.
Probably.
Like, that arm. Oh, that show. I could not do anything with my right arm for probably, like, I couldn't even get a drink of water. Hardly, like, I'd lean over to get dressed in the morning. I'd lean over, hang my arms down, and Julie would pull my shirt up over my head to get dressed, because I couldn't get my arm up and put it through the shirt. And I'm like,
how did you end up you went to the hospital?
Yeah.
How'd you end up there? You didn't have a car.
How'd I end up there?
Yeah, because the car was in the.
Well, I rode in the ambulance.
Oh, you took the ambulance.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So he, and I tell you what, if you ever need an IV, like, just have a paramedic do it.
They're good, aren't they?
Oh, they're so good. Like, I don't know how fast we're going, but we're bouncing down, the 4-lane in the back of an ambulance. And that was the slickest IV I've ever gotten in my life. Like, I didn't even feel it. And we're bouncing down the highway. And, and he's like, well, before we put the IV in, I got to take some blood samples. And I'm like, checking me for drugs and alcohol, Kent? And he goes, I don't know what they tested for, but they're probably gonna. He goes, weather seems really nice to lose control of your vehicle, doesn't it? I'm like, not on that bridge. I said, did you walk across that? He goes, yeah, I about fell on my ass. And that was the weird thing about the weather. It was, the weather that day was just,
I thought it was
I
normal.
guess the only way I could, to me it felt a little eerie. It was like foggy, but kind of misty, but not misty. And on that particular bridge and that particular spot, the conditions were just right for that little bit of localized rain they got to freeze on that bridge. Because all the police officers were like, how did this happen? And a couple of the officers, because they were coming down the westbound lane and they parked on the westbound side and then crossed the median on foot to get over there. And when they got down there, they're like, oh, you'd know how it happened if you walked across that bridge. All the officers that came across that bridge all just about fell on their asses.
It was that slick.
It was that slick. Just even on foot, they couldn't hardly keep their balance. So I still got a failure to maintain control out of it ticket, which, I mean, technically, yes. I did fail to maintain control.
It's still salt in the wounds.
But I don't think anybody was going to keep control of their vehicle going over that particular bridge at that particular time.
You're like, show me how.
Yeah, like you guys couldn't even walk across that. How was I supposed to drive across it? Because I remember even, I just thought the weather was weird enough. I didn't set the cruise until we'd crossed one bridge for sure, maybe two.
Yeah.
I didn't set the cruise because just when the weather's weird, I don't set the cruise because I don't want
that to happen.
I don't want that to happen. And yes, I got back to the hospital. Got to the hospital, and I don't even remember it. I think I had them call Julie and Patty. Or no, that's how Patty found out. I got
Julie called
Loretta called Julie, and I told Julie to tell her to get a hold of Patty right now and tell her what's happening. And yeah, so they got a hold of Julie, and Julie met me at the hospital. I think she was there when I got there. Yeah, I got my CAT scanned, and well, you're as normal as you were before. I don't feel like it. So we had a bunch of shit in the truck, but and when you roll your truck at 65 miles an hour for 120 yards or 125 yards, it looks like you had a yard sale in the ditch. Oh, like anything. It looked like a plane crash. There's just a debris field. That's what it looked like.
Who did you lose your glasses or my glasses or what was
you lost your glasses? Somehow mine stayed on my head.
Yours stayed on, and then somebody found them, didn't they, or something?
So after I got out of the hospital, because I can't remember what I was looking for, but I wanted to check the truck to see if it was in it, and so I went out to the company that towed it. They had it back at their shop by then, and I didn't find what I was looking for, and the kid that towed the truck was like, "Oh, hey, hold on a second." And he came back out and he handed me your glasses. He goes, "I have a feeling he's going to want these at some point." those glasses did not have a single solitary scratch on them.
Really?
They weren't bent. They weren't twisted. It looked like you'd just taken your glasses and just set them in the ditch.
Well, that was handy.
If I had to guess, I don't know where he found them, but it was probably on the first impact when the side window shattered. You had snapped.
When I was outside taking a look.
Yeah, when you're trying to take a look at where we were going.
Some people roll down the window.
I took care of that for you. We just broke it out. But, and just, yeah.
Was I still at the hospital when you were there?
You were there when I got there. You were not there when I left. I think they, because your injuries were extreme, and you had a lot of them. From your waist to your head, there pretty much wasn't anything that wasn't broken or damaged. So, and we didn't find out the extent of the damage until you got down to Iowa City, but was it 4 broken vertebrae, broken shoulder blade, broken collarbone,
was this
broken sternum, 4 broken ribs, 2 collapsed lungs, a limb that was stuck underneath the vehicle, and a face that looked like hamburger.
When I had one cut, like somewhere here, it was like that long.
Oh yeah, which is crazy.
Super deep. It was super deep.
Because that's the one that was like doing the cowboy thing.
It was stuck underneath the.
Yeah. So basically, they got you to Manchester, got you into surgery to get your lungs reinflated, and they put the chest tubes in, threw you back in the ambulance, and down to Iowa City you went. And it was, so I ran into the EMT, or that paramedic, probably, I don't know, a year later. Ran into him at the brewery. I'm like, hey, you remember that accident?
He's like,
that,
oh yeah.
That my buddy and I were in? And he goes, oh yeah, that was a bad one. Yeah, tell me about it. How much more time did he have by the time you guys got to the hospital? In your experience, because he's been a paramedic for a very long time. Like, how close was he? And he goes, by the time we rolled him into surgery, he was, if I had to guess, from what I've seen in the past, he was down to his last couple minutes. He was, because you couldn't breathe. You were basically suffocating. That was something else I remember. You just kept, before we even flipped the truck over, was how hard it was for you to breathe. You're like, I can't breathe. And I'm sure everything hurt like a freaking mother.
Yeah, I just remember I'd never experienced that before, so it was, it was new, but every breath was like shallower. Like I could, as soon as it dawned on me, it was kind of like,
oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I didn't want to get in the way down in, those first couple days while they had you in the intensive care unit down at the U. But I, stayed in contact with Patty and how you were doing, and I think it was probably the 2nd or the 3rd day I went down, and I can't remember. I probably got a picture somewhere. But again, like after the accident, if you had a hole in your body that blood could run out of, it was.
Mm-hmm.
They cleaned the blood up, and then they shoved tubes in all the holes that were bleeding, like they were trying to plug the holes with all the tubes.
Oh.
I don't know, man. It would not surprise me at all if you had 4 different IVs in your body. I think you had 2 in one arm, 1 in the other, and I think they put 1 in your leg. And they had you, in a medically, a fentanyl coma.
Is that what it would have been? Fentanyl?
Yeah. And I don't even remember what the units were, but I just remember looking at them. And at that time, the first day I was there, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, because it's on the display. It says how much you're getting. And then when I came back down, like another 2 or 3 days later, maybe a day or two, I don't know, whatever it was. The next time I was down there, you were building a tolerance to it so fast that they had the amount of fentanyl doubled from what you were getting the last time I was down, the first time I was down there. But, yeah, that, I think that second time I was down there was when you were just, they just about finally given up trying to keep you in a coma because they couldn't give you any more without killing you. So they were just trying to keep you on that amount so that you were pain free and you weren't trying to rip your vent out. Which that was a whole thing too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't want to be on a vent. You and Patty had a very specific conversation.
Gosh, that was just
about that was like 2 days before that. You and Patty had a conversation about that. Like, if they got to put me on a vent to keep me alive, you got to let me go.
Yeah,
and apparently they already had the vent in when she got there, and you had told them, "Yeah, go ahead, do the vent."
That's what she asked right away. Supposedly, what? who authorized this? Well, he did.
She's like, no, he did not. But it was, I don't know. I think it was that second time I was out that you started coming up, and you still had the vet in. You couldn't communicate anymore. Not anymore. You couldn't talk. But man, that was emotional. Like, oh shit, he might actually live. Because still at that point, like,
I don't think anyone knew, really.
Yeah, I mean, shit, you were freaking busted and broke from your waist to your neck. And I just remember apologizing profusely, because I was driving. It was my fault. And I just remember, you didn't do it. It was just like you shook your head and just, it was like that. Like, okay, he's not pissed.
Oh, I was doing that when I was still like at
the second visit. When you were just kind of with it enough to kind of know a little bit what was going on, but not enough to. But then the next time I came down, you were pretty alert. Still had the vent in. Wanted to communicate, and that was a problem because we couldn't read your mind. And you don't do well when people can't read your mind. I think at one point I looked at the doctor and I said, "You got to figure out a faster way to do this, or he's going to rip all that shit out of his arm so that he can talk." Like, I don't know. Like, you guys been doing this for a long time. You got to have a faster way to communicate than us sitting here with all the letters on a page, and we go row by row by row until he sees the letter that he wants through his freaking cross-eyed because your freaking head got hit so hard. You were seeing double everything and it was blurry. And then we'd go across the row until we found the right letter, and then you'd signal again. And jeepers criminy. That was the slowest part. I'm like, I know the doc, I'm like, this ain't gonna work for him. I promise you that. And I can't remember what they did to get it fast. I think they ended up just saying, all right, we got to pull this guy. I feel like they pulled that vent out a lot earlier than they wanted to.
Oh, really? Between me not being able to stay out?
Between you not being able to stay out, not wanting, I mean, there's a reason they usually knock you out when you got a vent in. It's because it's right on your freaking gag reflex and you're gagging, and I mean, they're not comfortable. And I think about the point where they were pretty sure that you could breathe just enough to not die. They pulled everything out. But that was, what, 9 days you spent in the ICU?
I don't know. I'd have to ask Patty.
I think it was a total of 16 days you were in the hospital.
Like nine on life support.
Nine basically, like,
or coma.
We're still trying to figure out if he's going to live or not. And then another 7 in a regular one. That's when Chad and I were assholes and made you laugh with all your broken ribs.
Gosh. That was probably the third most painful part.
I mean, to be fair, we weren't trying.
You weren't trying not to. You're like, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, like it was just meant to be.
As you're being funny.
But that was also like the crazy part, how fast things change. Because literally, I think it was like a day or two before the accident, we were installing a water heater, maybe in one of the rentals, I don't know. And I watched you pick up this water heater and carry it across the basement by yourself. Even though we had a cart and another guy, it's just faster, I guess, for you to bear hug it and carry it. To 9 days later in your hospital bed, so weak that you couldn't even pull your own covers up. And yeah. I still remember you, like, you know, like, it was almost like, hey, check this shit out. This is really impressive. Watch this. And you grabbed like a towel and rolled it all up real nice on your lap. And you go, watch this. And it literally took everything you could just to lift your arms in that towel about 2 inches off your lap from carrying a water heater. Like, cause that was the crazy part. They're like, all that muscle mass didn't go away. It's all still there. It didn't atrophy in 16 or in 9 days, 10 days. But all the nerve damage.
I think it's nerves. Yeah.
All the nerve, I think, you know, the nerve damage in your arms was so incredible. And it's weird, like, your right one was the one that was pinned under the truck. But it was like your left one was having sympathy pain for the right one. It had the exact same symptoms, except it wasn't pinched under anything.
That had me really nervous because that was leaning towards spinal cord injury, you know.
Yeah. Well, and especially having 4 broken vertebrae.
That's
that was the other thing I remember. It was like, we were down there, it was like scan after scan. I don't know how many times, like, you probably have cancer from all the x-rays that they took of you. And MRIs and
I remember every time because I never got the same lady that did the scan. She had the robot, and every time they would say this, and it just made me laugh because I had already heard it that morning and I heard it the night before. But it was like, whoa, you have really big lungs or long lungs or something, because they couldn't get it in
in the frame.
Yeah, and so they always had to take 2 for each one.
And they would have had to have the robot because obviously you can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
You know, like you couldn't even move. But yeah, it's just pictures and scans and pictures and scans and ultrasounds and, you know. But that was that was the worst day of my life. And it's not even close.
My favorite doctor was the doctor that came in for my vision when I was in the second room.
Oh, yeah, because you had like the pirate eye.
Yeah, I had a pirate eye, and he was the eye doctor. And he'd come in with this medicine bag looking thing, but it was bigger. It was like a cross between I don't know what it was, but it was this thing. And he sets it down, and he's talking to me, and next thing he starts flipping this thing open, and he's pulling out these little prisms, and he's looking at my eyes. He's pulling this, and he's sticking crap on the wall, and he's apparently they can do everything that you can go do in a seat out of that little bag. It was just, I was just amazed. I was just completely.
Those big goggles they have at the eye doctor.
Yeah,
It's like, I just got it in my bag here.
He seriously had prisms. You know, they would do this to the light. And he had. There must have been hundreds of little pieces.
Think they said he was one of the best eye doctors in the state. Yeah.
Yeah. So he told me he was the one that cleaned my eyes out too.
Oh, got all the glass
and stuff out. Yeah, I got to hear his conversation. He was. I don't know if he was a doctor or a student or what, but he was out in the hallway talking to someone, and they were conversing back and forth. They were really, really confused by what I had.
Your symptoms going on.
Yeah, what was going on? Because and in the end, it was just most of it was just I got hit so hard and I was so sick that I had lost my dominant eye, and so I had
your body didn't know which one to.
Yeah, and he said the reason it hasn't fixed is because there's too many other things to fix on you.
So yeah, I think that was. Yeah, because I think at that point I got that part from Patty. Was the doc had said, your body at this point, your body's not worried about your eyes because you can live without your eyes, but we got lots of stuff right here that he can't live without. That we got to get that healed up.
And he said he gave me pretty good news. He's like, if it doesn't fix itself, then we can fix it with surgery. That was
made you feel pretty good.
That was probably one of my best good news days.
Well, especially everybody needs eyes,
yeah,
and is extremely reliant on their vision. But like your livelihood depends. Well, I guess everybody's livelihood depends on vision, but doing construction and all the things that we were doing, like good eyesight's important. You might cut your finger off instead of the board.
It we were talking about the nerve damage, and I don't know if it showed you. I've only noticed it because the doctor this morning again had me do. She's doing a test, and so she, you're doing this, and then see how I still struggle
to get
Yeah.
To do that part?
Yeah, it's because that's where
that's that nerve.
It stopped. You know, when it came out, it eventually stopped it. It works here, but I noticed it when she had me do these tests. I'm like, oh,
that part's still hard to do.
Yeah, it's like,
and yeah, and what that was really good. It was good for me when they said, "Okay, you can go home." I'm like, "Okay, he's definitely gonna live now."
Since they're releasing
him. Yeah, they're gonna send him home. Oh man, that was good news. But man, watching you walk around the house, like my 95-year-old grandma with a walker got around better than you did. I mean, jeepers.
I remember, Patty doesn't remember.
You could have tripped over the dust on the floor just because your balance was so off. Because your eyes,
everything was jacked.
Yeah, your eyes were messed up. Your equilibrium.
My shoulder was like, I have a picture of it. It's just,
but it's crazy how many calories your body burns when it's got to repair that much damage. Because you lost a boatload of weight.
I don't remember. It was a lot.
I mean,
I want to say it was like 60 pounds or something from.
And at that point I mean, you were still pretty skinny.
They had me on full feed. I was allowed to order anything
as much as you wanted.
As much as I want.
And you've never been one to sit around, and just watch TV or watch the day go by, or at that point in your life you didn't have lazy days, where you just kind of sat around, did nothing, and relaxed. And I've had like with people that they go, well, what's he do for hobbies? He works. Well, no, like what's he do for fun? He works.
That's what I always put on all my. How that, I think job interviews or questions they would ask that or something I'd ask that, and I'd always
work. So I mean, you might have been home for 5 days, and you called and said, "Hey, let's go over to 413, work on that rental. Because you were gutting it and putting it back together. And I got over there, and you were already over there with one or two of the kids. And I'm watching you try and carry this 2x4 that a month ago you would have carried with one hand running up the stairs.
It wasn't Green Tree.
Yeah, it was like just a pine 2x4. And like had it cradled right here and just, just slow steps, and then got to the saw and just kind of dumped it on the saw. And like, you sure you should be doing this right now?
I remember you say it like that. You're like,
like, I don't know if you're ready for this yet. And I think that was part of your mentality with it. It was like, those nerves ain't going to grow back unless I give them a reason to grow back. And I think that was kind of your mentality with all of that. Why you wanted to get back and get moving is, if I don't give them a reason to grow back, nothing's going to get better if I don't give it a reason to. And, and 3 months after the accident, we're crawling up on a roof, and, we were doing a little section of your roof, and I'm going to need help. I don't even think I can shingle. I'll get up there, though, and do this, do that, kind of the general type of thing. And man, watching you climb that scaffolding, because we were still peasants back then and had to climb it.
Yeah.
And you had no feeling in your hands. So watching you try and climb the scaffolding, you're like, okay, that's on. I can release this hand, and then I can grab the next one. Yeah, that one, because you couldn't tell if you were hanging on to it or not.
I remember I would have to look to determine
to make sure you had a grip on it.
Yeah, that was latched, because I couldn't. Yeah.
Which that just had to be like,
that was trippy. Twilight
Zone, type of stuff. Like, I can see that it's on there, but it's like, it almost had to feel like an out of body experience.
It was kind of hard to trust it.
Like, yeah, because you can't feel it. Like, am I holding on to it tight enough? I can't tell. I feel like I'm squeezing it as tight as I can, but is it tight enough? Because if I don't, it's a long ways to the ground to land on your back. So.
All right. Well, you got anything else on there, or you good?
And we had a lot of conversations on why us. Because there's a reason everything happens.
Wait, are you gonna tell them where I told you were a pussy?
Oh, that part too. Yeah, you did. You did call me a pussy.
I still mean it.
And I think that was why Chad and I made you laugh.
Was it?
Yeah, because you called me a pussy. So we were going to see who was. No, we were, and I think maybe that wasn't the night Chad was there, because I think that was just a conversation you and I were having. And you basically said we were both on the right side of the truck. He's like, because honestly, Guy, you're a pussy. You could not handle being in a hospital like this. He goes, I've been doing hospitals since I was a teenager. I know the jig. I know how it goes. Spent a lot of time here. I'm comfortable here. Said, you couldn't hack it in here. But I couldn't hack it with the stuff that you're going through. I almost killed one of my best friends.
Yeah,
it was my fault.
The mental game.
I'm responsible for that, and as weird and morbid as it is, like, I think we've joked about it since day one. As soon as we can talk about it, and talked on your channel a lot about, your struggles with mental health and suicide attempts, and I don't know, that's just always something I've felt comfortable talking very openly with you about.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where we were going, but it just hit me the one day. I'm like, hey, so who's better at almost killing you, me or you? Like, who got you closer? I won.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So, but then, I don't know. It's been a real interesting. It's led to a lot of interesting conversations between us on,
Yeah.
The crazy way the good Lord works and why things happen, and
Yeah.
hopefully we both got to wait a long time to figure out why we had to go through that.
Well, I think we've talked about before.
And golly, I like that truck.
That was a fun little truck. But we talked about, possibly it happening to us might have prevented someone else on that bridge that morning because they would have slowed down
down for all the lights and the ambulances. And
so,
whether it was a mom in a minivan full of small kids, that they wouldn't have survived that crash. Not to, sound like we're all Billy Badass, but, we're tougher than a child. And, going through a rollover like that, I don't know.
All right.
But we both made it.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly.
It's been 9 years.
9 years. January 2nd was 9 years. That's a date that'll live in infamy. And for the first time in 9 years, you went on another water heater run with me.
Oh,
in January, no less. Almost exactly 9 years later, and I didn't almost kill you that time.
We were babysitting, though. We were a child.
Yeah, we had to be really careful that night. Not our kid.
Mm-hmm. No. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right. God, that was a great Seinfeld episode, wasn't it?
Is that where that came from?
Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Everything that happened?
Yeah. Whether it was, oh man, they're Catholic. Not that there's anything wrong with that. They're gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. They're Korean. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I'll have to find that episode.
But yes, I mean, I think that was kind of just the gist of how we kind of rationalized it and made sense of it. Was it had to be us so that someone else that wouldn't have survived it would slow down and not get hurt.
We took one for the team.
That was a big one for the team. The other fun part that I got to talk about with my students, since I'm an autos teacher and I teach an auto ownership class, we got to talk about insurance. And how insurance is here to... You remember... what movie was that? Danny DeVito. They fuck you at the drive-thru. That's insurance companies, man. They're just fucking you at the drive-thru. Because
yours was pretty, well, at least the part I saw. Yours was pretty much like, here's everything.
Well, after I talked originally, so like, and when you get into an accident like that and the bills are adding up like they do, I think they said just for you to lay, or you told me afterward when you got the bill, just for you to lay in an ICU bed a day, no nurses, no doctors, no medicine, like here's your bed, you can lay in it, I think was $15,000 or $20,000 a day, just to lay in the bed.
That wouldn't surprise me. I think
it might have been $25,000 a day.
I want to say the bill was over 200,000
for the ICU.
or that.
Well, I know your total bill, because between your insurance and my insurance, we had just enough. Was $555,000.
Yeah.
And at least up until that point, with my insurance, I had 100,000 per person, 300,000 for for the accident. 100,000 per person, 300,000 per for the whole accident. But and I always felt like that was a lot. $100,000, like jeepers Christ.
That was right my first day.
But that's what I told the kid. Well, so and then I had it was what was it for medical? Like $10,000.
Yeah, some small amount.
It was like $10,000, and I called the insurance company and said, "Hey, there's going to be some bills coming in," because I was thinking I had the $100,000 for bodily injury plus the $10,000 for medical, and they go, "No, he doesn't get that $100,000 because he was in your car." I'm like, wait, so he'd have been better off if he'd have been walking on the side of the road and I'd have hit him? They go, yeah. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but that's bullshit. You're going to have to figure out a way to get it, because that $10,000, he just burned that up and he ain't even left Manchester yet. And they ended up, I think that they could see the writing on the wall, and it was going to be cheaper for them in the end to just say, here's $110,000. That's everything that you could possibly be,
And a coat and a pair of jeans and they were very willing, the cart.
But I think they could see it wasn't a normal accident. It was like, and I think they could see how easy that could turn into a lawsuit where they would look like assholes, and it would be way more expensive for them in court to pay lawyers and all that stuff, and then to just say, you know what, actually,
here's a check.
Here's everything. Which, got us 20% of the way there.
I was so nervous about receiving that because I didn't know if I was getting one pulled over on me, you know what I mean? And then
because you're not used to insurance companies just saying, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's all of it.
I'd just gotten into the second room when Patty was, like, hey,
we got bills coming in.
Well, no, they were like, here's your check. And we're like, I'm like, don't accept it. Don't accept it.
Until it's like, no, this is literally the most we can give you.
That's our one insurance company was real decent. And they're like, you're not going to get any more out of them. They have actually full tilt, gave you everything. And it's okay for you to receive it now, versus waiting.
And then you were in the process of changing insurance companies. So you were double covered with $250,000 per person, $500,000 per incident. So those two companies just said, hey, we're just going to split the cost on that. And
they're legally allowed to in Iowa, which was a crock of shit. But yes, that's what they did.
So, but the thing that I remember is them just being such fucking cocksuckers about it. Like, it seemed like you were getting calls every other day. Hey, let's settle this out. Hey, let's settle this out. Here, just take this check.
And I kept saying,
and you're
no.
like, no. Well, it was no, unless, what's the max amount you can give me? Well, 250, and the other company can give you 250. Goes, perfect. Stroke me a check for $500,000, and I'll sign it. Well, we don't know how much the bills are going to be. We can't do that. He goes, that's why I can't accept it either, is because I don't know how much they're going to be. And then they try and do this thing, and I'm sure this is how they get people, that are in a financial pinch. Well, your bills are going to start coming in. You got to start paying them. And I was standing there for one of these phone calls, and it was just deadpan as can be. My wife makes plenty of money. I don't need yours to pay my bills.
They probably did say that. We were very fortunate because her this doesn't normally happen, but her work, we ran all those through her insurance. We still owed her insurance, but that doesn't normally happen. Those usually slide off to the side. What it allowed is all of them flowed through her insurance, which meant there was negotiated prices on all of them. So I think it knocked, I want to say $65,000 or $75,000 off the bill, doing it that way.
Whew, so we might have topped $600,000.
But that was a big check that day we cut back to her insurance.
Oh, I bet. That hurts to write a check that big.
She's probably written them that way before, but
oh yeah, she writes checks bigger than that,
but not on residential checks.
not on personal checks.
Yeah, personal checks.
We ran out of room on the line to write the amount.
Turnover
with an arrow saying over. But
gosh, that was a long journey. That part of it. It was 2+ years, I think. Oh, I know it was over 2 years.
And it was
because
and some of what slowed it down though
is the nerves.
Also.
I wouldn't settle because it took 25 months to know what my damage was.
Because you were still doing occupational therapy, physical therapy, Plus, that takes a mental toll. So you normally, how often do you talk to your?
That got doubled up. I was doing counselors 3 times a week.
I was going to say it seemed like every time I called you, you're like, I got to call you back. I got to go talk to my shrink. Your shrink or your therapist?
Therapist, yeah.
But I think you talk to both, don't you? You got a shrink and a therapist?
Mm-hmm.
But, just mentally, that's a lot to process, though, too.
It really was.
For all intents and purposes, I'm sure there was a point there where someone could have said, yeah, you're dead. Like you were just that rough a shape. And, that's a lot to process too. Like, why am I still here? We've had, and I think you've talked about it on some of your previous videos, is why can't I die?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Holy cow, I was that freaking broken. That traumatic injuries, and I still didn't die.
Yeah, that part of this has really, really amazed me lately, and I'm trying to still make peace with that. What does that look like? What does that mean? Because it's. And so far, it just is what it is, I guess.
We've ended a lot of conversations like that, talking about it like, I guess it's just the way it is.
Harry, he doesn't like you.
And if you knock my beer over, you are in trouble.
So we're all good. We'll wrap it up probably. All right.
See you, everyone.
Yeah, see ya.